Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's less than a week until we crown this year's Kazoo World Snooker Champion. 4 winners, a runner-up, and 3 potential first-time finalists are doing battle for the legendary single-table setup here at the Crucible at last. We're edging towards the business end of this 17-day marathon. So sit back, relax, and savour every single second with us, live here in the great city of Sheffield. Please welcome a player who is 6 frames away from a second Crucible semi-final after a blistering start this morning. What a return to form and fitness for one of the most likeable guys on tour. He's lean, keen and ready to roll. He's Dave Gilbert. And his opponent, after beating 2 of the world's top 10, he's contesting his 4th quarter-final in 8 years. It was a tough old start this morning, and he will come out and give it absolutely everything tonight. As tenacious as he is talented, he's Stephen the Maverick Maguire. And now to a player who clearly loves it here. The first man in 25 years to make back-to-back quarters on his first 2 visits. What a brilliant start this morning against the world number 2. Always calm, always composed. The silent assassin, Jack Jones. Finally, what a double on the black this morning to take the last of the session and level. The 10-time quarter-finalist showed all his experience in frame 8. He is now the most decorated left-hander in history. Come on, Sheffield, give it up for the ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
A very good evening, everyone. Welcome to Discovery Plus, and welcome to the second session of Dave Gilbert against Stephen Maguire. It might be the last session. I doubt it very much, actually, but if Gilbert wins 6 of the 8 frames this evening, he will win with a session to spare. Can't see it somehow, but you never know. Joining me in the commentary box for this one is a player who knows Maguire and Gilbert well, Dominic Dale.
Yes, a very good evening, everybody. Goodness knows what mindset Stephen Maguire will approach his second session with, but even if you were to win this little mini session 3-1, he'd still be 8-4 behind. But Dave Gilbert still has to win 6 frames, so I think Steve Maguire needs to just inch his way back into this. Average shot time, 26 seconds. That's rather laboured for Stephen Maguire, although he is a little bit slower than he used to be. Highest break just 63. Dave Gilbert firmly in control of this match.
The tale of the tape so far, well, Maguire has lost 2 frames after making breaks of 60 or more. His highest break, 63, that Dominic mentioned, he lost that frame on the black. He also made a 60 in the 7th frame. He lost that on the black, and he lost the closing frame of the session on a respotted black after missing first chance to middle. As for Dave Gilbert, well, apart from stealing frames, he's also won 3 of them very convincingly with breaks of 83, 110 and 130. He was a deserved leader after the first session. 7-1, maybe a tad flattering. Caught that one a little too thin, and that's why he got the secondary kiss on the black.
Needless to say, Steve Maguire's going to have to play his A game here this evening to get back in this match. If you're Dave Gilbert, with the enormous lead that he has coming into this second session, he'll just be happy to just share the frames.
Yes, I was going to say exactly the same, Dominic. I think 4-4 for Gilbert with an 11-5 lead. Yes, they've occasionally been overturned, but it's really rare. I think Maguire has to win the session. 5-3 at the very least. Even then, he'd have his back to the wall.
Good effort at the long red, but it's remained close enough to this corner pocket for Stephen Maguire to plant a red onto it. I've seen plenty of players with advantages such as this really struggle because they don't quite know how to deal with it sometimes. Instead of pulling away further, you tend to look at your opponent catching you up frame by frame.
Yes, and being in the semi-final is a massive deal for both of them. One of those plants, you can't quite believe he didn't complete. But there was enough distance between the red and the pocket to suggest it might not drop.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen thinks he should have missed that, but your mind is everywhere when you're facing a deficit like that. You don't know what to think, what to do. You can't win this match unless you get a lot of help from your opponent, and you can never guarantee that, of course. It's one of these situations that if Dave Gilbert can begin the brighter of the two and win this first frame, he might just push on still further. I can't see Steve Maguire performing well enough to overturn this deficit unless he gets help from his opponent.
It seems to me, and this is all pontification, of course, it seems to me that if Gilbert makes a really good start tonight, the writing's on the wall.
Steve Maguire does lead the head-to-head by 3 matches to 2. A lot of these matches were played several years ago, even a decade or so ago, but Stephen's matches have all been won by a couple of frames, a couple of 5-3s and a 4-2. The 2 wins for Dave Gilbert were 4-1 and 6-2, so slightly more convincing. But again, the last time that Dave Gilbert beat Steve Maguire was in 2015, so that's quite a long time ago now. Yes, of course, Dave Gilbert defeated Steve Maguire 6-2 at the Masters. That was 4 years ago now. Steve Maguire's last win against Dave Gilbert was in 2015. That was 5-3 in the German Masters.
Now, we've seen already today, this kind of shot has to be respected.
$13.
Does have the red to left middle.
20. $21.
Just double checking that the pink doesn't go. It certainly doesn't. He's got a straightish blue to the green pocket, but he's a good few feet away from this, so it will require good straight cueing. And he'll have to do a lot of work with the cue ball if he wishes to get onto his next red, so I think he'll certainly consider playing a safety shot here, Dave Gilbert.
Nothing overambitious about the cue ball.
26.
Which means another examination coming up. If he can get through.
Not sure he can, Phil. He was about to ask our referee, Terry Camilleri from Malta, to check the blues on the spot, but I think he's actually realised that he probably isn't on this red.
Just having a quick look at not one but two plants. Oh, what a shame. What a shame that was.
26 foul for Stephen Maguire.
You always go for the reds that are closest to each other. That's easier to knock in. That's what he did. He screwed back off them, zipped it right back into a place he most certainly did not want to go into, i.e. the pocket. Unlucky.
Yes, it was. I thought initially it was poorly played, but no, he did screw off a couple of reds, as Phil has suggested, and cue ball found its way into the pocket, so as Phil has quite rightly said, just pure bad luck. But conversely, he was lucky not to leave a potable red for Steve Maguire.
It's been a day of in-offs. Dominic and I commentated on the Ronnie O'Sullivan first session this afternoon, and the white was going into the pockets on a regular basis. needed cover. Instead, Maguire's got the gap between green and brown.
Yes, that will perk up Steve Maguire somewhat because the black's in open play and he knows if he can pot this red and get onto a colour, there's every chance he can make a big break. But just look at those reds. You have 4 sets of 2 reds pretty much there. Unusual. Well done. Does the brown pass the yellow? If it does, position to his next red is a little easier than if he has to take on the green.
Well,
the easiest red is the top one of the 2 together near the black spot. But positionally, the safest red to play is the bottom red of the 2, but it's a little more missable. You can easily just pot this top red, use the other red just to jam the cue ball against.
Six.
Just means he's a touch thinner on the black than he would have liked to have been.
$13. $14.
World number 28 these days, Stephen Maguire. Currently, because he's lost points from the World Championship a couple of years ago, he's provisionally 29th. But if he were to win this match, he'd be up to 23rd. That would be quite some leap for one victory.
$21. $22.
Contesting only his 3rd ranking quarter-final of the season after the International Championship and Northern Ireland Open. The aim for Maguire is to reach his first
25.
ranking semi-final. This will surprise you, Dominic. First ranking semi-final since the 2021 Welsh Open. 3 years ago, almost. 3 years and 2 months. That's wide.
Stephen Maguire, 25.
Just when he looks set to maybe win this frame from here, and in that one shot he's made life so much easier for his opponent, who has very little to do now positionally. Just a 1 point between them. It does surprise me, of course, that Steve Maguire's just been to that one semi-final at the Welsh a few years ago, but he has been experimenting with a multiplicity of cues since then. It's hardly surprising there's been a dip in his form, but he does seem to like the cue he's using at the moment.
Not the best positional shot from Gilbert on the red over the pocket. But now back in full control of the white ball.
8. 9. 16.
Dave Gilbert
70.
looking for a colour here, and then 2 reds and 2 colours to extend his lead still further to 8-1. But there are a couple of awkward reds. And Dave Gilbert will need one of them. Looks as though he's played for one of the awkward reds here. But he's very straight on it, so he won't be able to play for the black here. He'll probably screw back for pink or blue. He wasn't straight on the red, so he could run the key ball through around the
24.
angles of the black pocket. So he'd be happy with this. There's a good angle to play for the red, particularly into the left centre. Nothing to do with the cue ball, except run through. I'm a little surprised he wanted to stun over for the red to the corner. It's gone wrong. Could easily have played for that red to left centre there. So he's left himself a little bit to do, but just a red and colour required.
There's absolutely no point here. Dave Gilbert hitting this red hard, just trickle it in. Made sense.
39.
So this frame is won.
$46. $48.
Before a ball was struck, I thought this was a very tough match to call. I could make a reasoned argument for both players.
51.
That was reflected in their pre-match odds. The one scenario we did not expect.
55.
A one-sided affair. It could still change, of course. But right now, Dave Gilbert
60.
is lapping Stephen Maguire.
$66.
Maguire missed a red to top corner. Dave Gilbert piles on the misery with a 73 clearance. He leads by 8 frames to 1. Only 5 more needed to be the first player into the semi-finals.
Frame 10. Stephen Maguire to break.
We said exactly the same thing a frame ago. It's even more acute now. Steve Maguire has to get going, or it will be too late.
One.
Another lovely red from the cue of Dave Gilbert, and a beautiful bounce off this bulk cushion from the cue ball as well has left him nicely on this brown. To the left centre with a good angle on it to bring the cue ball down once again among the reds.
The black hemmed in, but plenty of other colours for
5.
Gilbert to try and zone in on.
Six.
Dave Gilbert wanted to be straight on the pink. He really wanted to be able to screw back for the middle red of the 3 next to the black, because in potting that he could have nudged another red away from the black and been on it. But I don't think he's travelled far enough with the cue ball for that to be a possibility now. Try to screw back off the pack, but is he on anything?
Twelve.
Still having a look at the red to this corner. Obviously happy with the angle that he has.
David Gilbert, 1.
Well, 2 things to say about that. One, it was a very good attempt. Secondly, it was also really risky.
One. Four. Five.
Maguire in danger of being interrupted by some applause in a moment, some very loud applause. told you it was going to be allowed. That's why he backed away from the shot.
A 13.
The reason for the applause: Jack Jones is back in front against Judd Trump at 5-4. 28-minute first frame of the evening. Trump left the last red to middle. Jones knocked it in and cleared to pink. 5-4 Jack Jones over one of the tournament favourites.
Stephen
20.
landed very straight on the black. Did as well as he could to leave himself the chance at this plant. He's coming at it from a reasonable angle. Yep. And he's on a colour. Just.
21.
I'm sure we'll see Steve Maguire attempt quite a few adventurous pots this evening in a bid to get back into this match. Into the reds. Just caught the side of them. I'll be happy enough with that.
25. 26.
I have to say this, Dominic, the cue ball on this table is a lot more reactive than it was on table 2 in the O'Sullivan match this afternoon. I think the table in general is playing much more agreeably.
33.
Yes, it's quicker, it's more responsive. I've already seen a couple of occasions now when the player's gone into the reds, they're split better as well because it's playing more responsively.
This afternoon's match on this table was Coram Wilson-John Higgins, which was full of big breaks.
42. $49. 50.
Oh, what did he do there? He must have played for the pink. Now, on the other table, he'd have played that perfectly, I'm sure. But this is definitely a far more responsive cloth than Steve Maguire. Almost embarrassed by the shot that he's just played. This blue is tough.
Blue.
Had the blue not gone in there, he might have been vulnerable 55. For a counter-attack.
$56. $62. 63.
The most bread and butter of pinks is frame ball.
69. $70. $76. $77.
Tough final red as he pursues what would be his 9th century of the championship.
84.
It's on now. It was on. Forget it.
84.
But also, forget the frame. It's fallen to Maguire. Desperately needed. Dave Gilbert's lead is now 8-2.
So, frame 11 about to get
Frame
underway.
11. David Gilbert to break.
David Gilbert about to break off.
I was just mentioning there Maguire's centuries in this championship.
Sorry. Can you please double check your mobile phones that are switched on silent? Thanks.
Can hear a phone going off. Yeah, he was involved in qualifying, as was Gilbert, and so that's why he's racked up so many centuries. Maguire made 2 in his first match in qualifying against Ashley Hugill. Then he made 3 against Yuan Sejun. Put together 2 against Ali Carter in the first round here. And then highlighted his 13-9 win over Sean Murphy in the last 16 with a break of 127. Mind you, Gilbert's been scoring heavily. He made 3 centuries against David Lilly in his first qualifying match. Had 115 in overcoming Luca Brissell, the defending champion, on day 1. 2 centuries against Rob Milkins. And 2 this afternoon.
What a pot that was from Stephen Maguire. Wonderful pot. Powered it in. Got around the back of the black and red. Just caught the bump, as you saw there, of the centre pocket. And unfortunately, that ricochet could have been a little more advantageous. He may be able to see the green, though. But it's not a simple pot by any means.
He didn't want to kiss the blue, but it was such a thin skim, it didn't make that much difference. In fact, he's nicely in. There's no doubting his game plan. He's going for it, and quite rightly so.
Well, if the red below the pink pots, that could help Stephen, but he'll need to play one good positional shot here. And that is not it.
Now, he did something there that you should never do. Because he was disappointed about the positional aspect of the previous shot, he just got down and played that one without any due care and attention. And he's left a red.
Very impressed, you know, with Dave Gilbert throughout this championship. He really does appear to me to be back to his best. He's worked very hard in practice ahead of this championships. And well, that old phrase, practice makes perfect, didn't come about for nothing.
Felt he was a tad thin on the blue.
Five.
Played the brown delightfully.
Yes, he could scarcely have picked that cue ball up and placed it any better with his hand. A lot of players would have been content with the blue there to go into that group of reds and the black, but you see, Dave knows that these reds are in good positions as they are and didn't want to disturb them.
6.
The only thing is, it appears to me that the black spot is occupied, and if so, if it goes on the pink spot, it will be a little tied up. So I must confess to being a little surprised that he didn't choose to get this red out of the way before potting the black.
Lots of running side. He did not intend to kiss the red, but what a gorgeous kiss it was.
The best ever. Because now he's potted the pink, that goes on the black spot, takes the place of the black, and it's a very high value colour, so
20.
He's in good shape again here now, Dave Gilbert. A lead of 9-2 beckons. That was the bungled attempt at
27.
Position on the pink from Steve Maguire. Got straight down in a split second. Played
20.
the yellow carelessly, left a pot on for Dave Gilbert, and this break is the result of that pot being left on.
$34.
I didn't think that red was in, and I think Stephen Maguire was convinced it had missed as well. I think had he hit the red any softer, it might well have just tapered away towards that jaw even more and stayed out, as Maguire's did in the first frame of the day. or the night.
The other thing worth mentioning, when a table's playing really nicely,
38.
the cue ball will skid off the cushion rails. That makes the pockets play just a little bigger. I wonder if on the other table that red would or wouldn't have gone in.
39.
Either way, Dave Gilbert still in fine fettle here.
Throughout his career, he's always played that shot really nicely, the one where you've got to flick on some running side and widen the angle off the top cushion to avoid other
45.
reds. He's always played that shot extremely well.
Yes, Dave uses a tip size that's pretty average among players today. It's about 9¼ mil, 9.25 millimetres. So he's able to play shots with a trace of side without getting too much deflection of the cue ball. I'll try to explain
46.
that. If you play a shot with left-hand spin, the cue ball, because you're aiming left, the greater mass of the ball is to the right of the tip. The cue ball, therefore, will push out to the right, but the left spin that you're putting on the ball will grip the cloth and come back to the left. So you always get two movements whenever you play a shot with a lot of side spin. And you have to just work out the way the cloth is playing. Of course, knowledge of your cue is of paramount importance, but there's a lot of judgments that go on
53.
in order for you to play these shots well.
54.
And on more than one occasion in the past, Gilbert has judged things brilliantly against Maguire. Dom mentioned his win in the quarter-final of the Masters in 2020. Gilbert made a break of 144 in that contest. And when they met
62.
in the Championship League in 2019, Gilbert made a 147. No 147 here, but more than sufficient to tighten his grip.
67.
A fierce grip already.
'67 and frame. David Gilbert.
It was all about that ill-considered safety shot. Maguire allowed frustration to get the better of him. Gilbert knocked a red in from distance, and he put together a frame-winning contribution to lead 9-2. The sands of time are running out, it would appear, for Stephen Maguire in his quest to reach a third Crucible semi-final after 2007 and 2012. No sign of weakness from Dave Gilbert. Reds going everywhere. I thought for a moment that red might be heading towards the middle pocket, and that might have been the final straw for Stephen Maguire. As it is, an almost immediate chance.
One.
Well, isn't that just typical of what happens when you're struggling? Good red. Could scarcely have had a worse little flick off the blue there. The green is cuttable, but it's extremely thin.
Green. Four.
He wants to smack these reds everywhere. He's just holding himself back, just trying to restrain himself. Looked like he was on a red. The pocket was blocked by another. How inconsiderate, but how typical when you're 9-2 down.
Oh, it was so unlucky, it really was. It was a good green. As I said, it was very thin. Lost control of the cue ball, got what looked like a favourable cannon. I think right now that Steve Maguire is simmering.
Now the question here, he played that as a shot to nothing, but is there a gap? Maguire can pot the red to middle, I believe there is. Indeed, a very wide gap.
One.
That was still a pretty good pot from Steve Maguire, but just couldn't kill the pace of the cue ball to leave himself the right side of the blue. But with the red that's near the left corner, should be on that one okay. But then, of course, he needs to get a colour from it. Pink may pot into this right centre pocket, perhaps.
Six. Seven.
I know it's highly unlikely from here, but Stephen Maguire, he's trying to reach his 36th ranking semi-final. He's had a really good career.
$13.
captured a total of 6 ranking titles, including the 2004 European Open, his breakthrough win in Malta. And you know, to win that, Dominic, he beat 5 members of the top 16 in that tournament alone. Same year, won the 2004 UK Championship. Also a past winner of the Northern Ireland Trophy, China Open, Welsh Open, and his most recent success, the Tour Championship in 2020. He will need all of the good vibes from those triumphs and maybe a little more to turn this around.
It's worth mentioning that Tour Championships in 2020. Ding Junhui didn't enter the event. Steve Maguire was a late call-up and won the whole thing. Won a small fortune.
$26.
A little thinner off that last red he made contact with, and that could have been an in-off or out of position quite easily. But it's worked out a treat.
32. Cheers.
Sorry, I'll get it.
Pink clearly pots into the left corner.
30.
Steve Maguire just needs to be a little careful if he plays for it. Because of the red just to the right of the pink, he needs to make sure he goes far enough up the table here.
39. $45. 46. 52.
Even though he's lagging so far behind. That's
50.
Maguire's 5th break over 50 in the match.
There are a couple of reds that are touching each other, it's sometimes quite tricky for a player to ascertain which of the two reds will pot. Is it the left one? Is it the right one? Don't think there's ever a case where both of them pot. So the lead is 63.
15.
Just one red is all that Stephen Maguire requires to win his third frame in this match. So he's having a really good look there. Those two reds, as you can see, are touching. And I don't think Stephen's entirely sure which of the two reds are available.
$60.
He picked the right one. And that seals the frame. Gilbert already required snookers. There's no way back from here.
63. $64.
This table comprehensively outpacing the other one. Trump and Jones still in their second frame of the evening. Here, we're just seconds away from the interval.
71.
Maybe a couple of minutes if he clears the table.
Stephen couldn't quite manage a century break in the
77.
previous frame. Can he do so here?
78. $84. 85.
Well, that's his new high break of the match.
$91. 93. $96.
He had to take it to Dave Gilbert. He had to show intent, aggression.
100.
He had to show he wasn't going to surrender
105.
meekly. And although the job is extremely tough even from here, it's not impossible.
111.
A break of 111. Stephen Maguire improves slightly. Dave Gilbert's lead at the mid-session interval in the second session remains a commanding 9-3.
David Gilbert to break.
After 4 swift frames to initiate the session, they're already back out from the mid-session interval. I think if you gave Dave Gilbert 2 of the next 4 frames, he would accept your offer gladly. If he were to win 3 of the next 4, it's over. If he wins all 4, it really is over, officially. A session early. But if Maguire can win 3 of the next 4 frames, or all of them, it's back, match on.
Well, for Steve Maguire, the task is an easy one. 4 frames remain this evening to give himself a realistic hope. He needs to win them all.
I think it's with Maguire at his best. At his ceiling, he's capable of doing that.
Well, you can see some of these stats. His pot success this evening is at 96%. His long pot success is at 100%. And look at the average shot time from Steve Maguire. 22 seconds a shot. It was 26 for the whole match coming into this evening's session. Made a century break. Was playing very well. But yet, this evening, they've shared the first 4 frames.
Gilbert's now well aware of the tactics of his opponent, i.e. be aggressive. Gilbert shouldn't compromise his own game, which is also attacking. But I think if he shows patience here and there, that will be to his advantage. He didn't in the second frame of the night, if you recall. He took on a very risky thin red with the rest, and when he missed, Maguire made 84. So try and keep things tight, and when you get your chance, then do the damage. Would you believe the second frame of the night is just finished on the other table? It took 55 minutes to reach its conclusion. Jack Jones edged it on the brown, and he leads Judd Trump 6-4.
Quiet as you can, please. The other match is still in play.
Certainly a chance here for Steve Maguire at a potable red. In fact, he has potable reds to both corners. This is the safer one to play. Gives him a chance to play back up towards bulk. Just too thin. The red nearest this right corner. Stephen can't get through to pot it. Can't see enough of it. Well, not looking at that camera angle anyway. Can Stephen apply a trace of side spin to the cue ball, which would spin the red towards the pocket? Ah, he thinks there's a chance of potting this red. He could play a very telling safety from the reds just below the pink. But no, he's back playing this red.
I think he tried to convince himself he could squeeze that in. Always looked really tight to me. But this red not as easy as an opener as you might imagine. Just spotting the red itself, that would have been okay. But he had to play for position. That meant he had to hit the red sharply. And we've seen when you do that, they can easily be wobbled.
Stephen certainly can't see the red over the yellow pocket. Can he see this one near the right-hand centre? Well, maybe he couldn't. Well, this could be a very serious mistake from Steve Maguire. Dave Gilbert has what should be a simple starting red. The one that's closest to the black looks to be ideal. Wow, would you believe it? Dave Gilbert seems, to me, as though he's lost just a little bit of focus and concentration. And it's very easy to put yourself under unnecessary pressure with mistakes like this, especially in this case if Steve Maguire can capitalise from them.
Nine.
Maguire made his debut here 20 years ago. In all of his visits subsequently, he's never lost with a session to spare. If he were to win this frame, that would be avoided again. He has won matches with a session to spare. Quarter-final in 2012, he beat Stephen Hendry 13-2. Last 16 in 2017, he beat Rory McLeod 13-3.
17.
Basically, if you get to 4, you are coming back for the scheduled third session.
$19. $20. 26. $27.
Had to leave himself just a little higher on this black than ordinarily he'd be comfortable with. So, has to give this every effort.
Stephen Maguire, 27.
Well, given the performance that we've witnessed this evening from Stephen Maguire, I have to say I expected him to knock that in.
Yeah, I would concur with that, Dominic, although I think he's at the stage now where he knows that any mistake is going to be doubly important. Quite simply, you just can't afford them.
Eight. Nine.
Important for Dave Gilbert to focus and concentrate here. He's missed a couple of easy ones in this frame, yet he still has a chance to win it with this opportunity. Into the reds, he's missed them. Caught the two loose ones. Still has a potable red on, but the extra power injected into the shot caused him to just lose control of the cue ball a little there.
David Gilbert, 14.
The first four frames of the night were all won with sizable breaks. This one more of a fight.
Stephen was just the merest fraction there away from leaving this red near the green pocket. Very easy for Dave Gilbert. Just didn't catch enough of the jaw for it to be over the pocket for him. But this now, a key safety exchange between the two players with the reds in the open the way they are.
Rarely turns his back on a potential pod, does Stephen Maguire. He's always been that way, always gone for the throat.
Pretty good shot from Dave Gilbert. Stephen can't play the reds next to the pink. He may have to play a safety now off the one on the left-hand side cushion. But that cue ball's quite close to this top cushion. Tough to judge this.
The third frame of the session on the other table, chalk and cheese to the second frame. Told you that second frame lasted 55 minutes. Well, the third of the night between Trump and Jones was over in 11 minutes. Trump won it without Jones spotting a ball. Jones has his lead trimmed to 6-5. Knowing these two, Dominic, it's the kind of frame that doesn't float their boat, either of them, but one of them has got to prevail.
Yes, it's an important tactical exchange, though, because the reds are in decent positions. It's not one of those frames that should last too long once a mistake is made here. See there that the red nearest the green pocket is possible for Dave Gilbert if you can't see a worthwhile safety. A stern expression there on the face of Stephen Maguire. Almost frightening.
Turned 43 last month, did Maguire. And he might have forced a chance here. That did not work out as planned.
One. Four. Five.
Two awkward reds here, four not so awkward. And so Maguire with a 23-point advantage already.
10.
If he could muster an extra 21 points off the four open reds, he wouldn't need the two awkward ones. But the fact that he's down at the end of the table where the small value colours are, that makes his
11.
life difficult.
Stephen may be a little encouraged at the moment because he's probably
15.
just sensed His opponent hasn't looked quite as assured in this frame as some of the others this evening.
16.
And Stephen is more than capable of winning 3, 4, 5 frames in a row with big breaks. Spent a lot of his amateur days practicing with Stephen Hendry and a lot of his earlier pro days as well. He's certainly got the game to still cause problems.
18.
In the most important match of his life, Dave Gilbert had a very big lead over John Higgins, semi-final of the World Championship in 2019. He was 10-6 up after 2 sessions, then went 12-7 ahead.
$19.
Ultimately, though, he was beaten 17-16. You want a big lead at the Crucible, of course, but sometimes they can play tricks with the head. And now the problem of one awkward red has been solved.
22. $23.
A low-scoring frame. Maguire needs colour and the penultimate red.
$28.
Stephen just needs to make sure of this red. Although that would only put him 42 ahead. But 2 snookers would be required. And it goes quite nicely on the brown to the left centre.
29.
That's been one of the high points of his performance, Maguire, in this match. With the rest, flawless. Knocked in 11 pots out of 11.
33. Stephen Maguire, 33.
You can fully understand Dave Gilbert carrying on. 46 behind, that means he needs 3 snookers, but that translates into 1 snooker and a free ball if you can force it.
Yes, and these colours on the spots bar the pink are in ideal positions. This is a good effort. If he can just brush the pink. Oh, he has. Amazing, isn't it? But if there's a gap between the blue and the green, Steve Maguire doesn't have a problem.
If he judges this nicely, he could play what they call in pool a kick and stick, which is off the cushion first with right-hand side. The cue ball will remain where the red is now, and he could lay a snooker back. Oh.
Foul.
On the other hand, he could hit the green
David
directly.
Gilbert, 4.
That was what you call a bit of a botch-up.
Yeah, huge misjudgment there. Could easily have left a free ball for Dave Gilbert, who now just needs 2 snookers. Well, I have to say, I expect Steve Maguire to snooker Dave Gilbert from here. There are all sorts of shots he could play to achieve that.
The Crucible crowd know that could put the cap on the frame.
Foul. 4 on the frame.
He knew he was going to leave a free ball, and so Dave Gilbert concedes. Stephen Maguire has recovered from 9-2 down at his lowest ebb to 9-4.
Thank you. Frame 14. Stephen Maguire to break.
Stephen Maguire looking to maintain his mini revival. Looking to remove the word mini.
Yes, 9-4. 9-5 doesn't sound all that bad. And I think that scoreline would be ringing in the ears of Dave Gilbert. Lost the last 2 frames. You can see that his opponent's putting in an effort now. I don't think that red was potable, but by putting it so close to the corner pocket, it gives Dave Gilbert just a little bit of a headache. That is a mistake.
We say time and time again, these middle pockets are really difficult. But if this goes in, he could be away.
Eight. Nine.
Having watched both of these tables at close
16.
quarters all day, very intently, there's no doubt in my mind that this one is playing much more responsibly than the one behind the partition. No doubt.
It's very odd, isn't it, how two tables side by side can play so differently, but it's quite a common occurrence. I remember when I arrived in Sheffield for the qualifiers for the World Championships here, I was in the Players' Lounge and all I could hear were discussions about how poorly the tables were playing. But the next day I played my match on, it was table 7 in the qualifiers, and it played beautifully.
Tables are temperamental.
20.
I well recall a tournament in Romania a few years ago. They played all 4 quarter-finals in one day. And the first 2 matches, conditions were fine. The third match, all right, acceptable. By the end of the evening, though, the table was playing terribly. It was Anthony McGill against Neil Robertson. So even over the course of a day,
24.
conditions can deteriorate severely. Doesn't happen too often, but they can.
$25.
Pink spot is occupied, so our referee Terry Camilleri will be placing the pink behind the pack of reds very shortly. And Stephen will just be wondering whether the red above the black that's currently potable will still be potable when this pink is replaced. It's okay because, as you can see, the red just to the left of the cue ball also pots into the left centre and this right corner. And Stephen can easily leave himself on a colour to go into the reds when he needs to. That red just to the right of the pink may well still be possible into the left corner. So another little bonus for Steve Maguire here.
32.
Now the reds could go far and wide.
39. 40.
Went for conservative dislodgement. Just a couple came out, one went to a cushion. But the break continues, that's the main thing. By playing it like that, he was in control of the white, and he knew it.
You see, even that reaction from Steve Maguire is in a way positive, because you can sense that he's getting back into this match, and it means something now when things go wrong like that. Well, he's in the box seat in this frame, but he just needed one good outcome there, and it would have been 9-5 in just a few minutes, you would have thought. He's just going to have to fight for one more opportunity, but Dave Gilbert is just beginning, I'm sure, to feel a little hot under the collar.
He's had some stinging defeats, Gilbert, apart from that semi-final here 5 years ago I told you about. In the 2018 World Open final against Mark Williams, he was 9-5 up on the cusp of his breakthrough ranking title. Lost 10-9. When you've lost a series of big occasion matches from well in front, it does cause mental scarring. Oh, what a shot. With such hampered cueing, he couldn't do anything with the cue ball. But now he's going to lay a little in behind the black snooker.
Stephen Maguire, 38.
And Dave Gilbert is in trouble here. Can't really risk resting into those reds and the pink, because there's a possible red to the right centre. There's one that's near that left centre. He's in quite a predicament here.
Not the red he intended to hit. And now, already, with a 48-point advantage, Maguire should tuck the frame away at this visit. No ifs, buts or maybes.
Six. Seven.
Just this blue and the red above it are all that Steve Maguire requires to pull another frame back. That would be 3 in a row.
Twelve. 13.
it never fails to amaze how swiftly
18.
the whole feel of a match can change.
$19. $26.
Yes, Dave Gilbert will lead overnight.
27.
But it's the size of his lead. That's what's intriguing. That's what's unknown. And that's what Stephen Maguire
30.
is trying to limit.
$34.
Simply refuses to go quietly. It was 9-2 to Dave Gilbert. Now Maguire has got more than a sniff of a chance. It's 9-5. 2 frames left tonight.
Frame 15. David Gilbert to break.
Can Dave Gilbert make himself feel a whole lot better, a whole lot more secure, and get to double figures?
One thing that Dave Gilbert needs to remember is that with every frame that Steve Maguire wins, the pressure begins to increase on him as he begins to sense that he can get back into this match and, who knows, even win it.
He was nowhere near. Mind you, the shot he's left to middle is not exactly appetising. Not the kind of pot you want to have on when you haven't knocked one in for over half an hour of playing time, having missed the red to drop there. How lucky.
Well, this could be an awkward frame now with that red between the green and the brown. It would be too risky, you would think, to play a safety shot into bulk because of that red. And with the red that's below the black, you'd have to be a little bit careful playing one towards his top cushion. That's why Steve Maguire didn't really want to have to play that safety shot, because it gave Dave Gilbert there every opportunity to play a better one. Can just roll up to the reds, nothing more.
That's the old last resort shot. Nothing been potted. Not inconceivable. We might see a re-rack here. Still an outside chance, but you can't really dismiss it completely. Forget the re-rack. Oh, dear me, what a blunder. What a blunder with all of his momentum.
Was lucky there, Stephen caught the cloth part of the cushion rail, not the wood, as Ronnie did earlier today. Still has to get on a colour. But he has.
One.
Now, Dave Gilbert is probably a player under a lot of pressure right now to make the most of this opportunity and to get to 10. He'll feel a lot better if he can win this next frame.
Scored only 18 points in the last 3 frames. Had virtually no quality table time. So this kind of
7.
clear-cut chance, manna from heaven.
Eight.
If this was the morning session, the way he was playing, you'd fancy him to make plenty.
15.
Different vibe now.
Dave would love to get onto the red that's directly to the left of the blue, but can't really play for that with the angle that he would like on it, which would be dead straight. So maybe he's on the red just above that red
20.
to run through and play a little cannon here. Ah, that
21.
helps. That really helps.
Gilbert's fighting to reach his first ranking semi-final since the
26.
2019 Scottish Open. Now, hold on a minute, you say. Well, he won the Championship League in 2021, which is true. But that tournament, the ranking version, it's groups right until the last 2 players qualify for the final. So it features no conventional semi-final.
32.
What a place to end the drought if he does so.
32.
No better place.
Dave could play for the pink here into the left corner, and in potting the pink could bring reds into play.
$39.
He'll expect to be on a red to the left centre as a fail-safe, no matter what happens.
45.
When you consider he's been a professional for 23 years, Gilbert, and for all of his class and ability, he's trying to reach only his 8th ranking semi-final.
Look at the shot he's lining up here, red to the centre, stowing through a very small gap between the pink and the 2 reds below it. This needs to be played perfectly. And it was.
46.
I think Gilbert will be allowed to make this break in peace. I can't imagine that
52.
Jack Jones and Judd Trump would re-enter the arena while he was at the table on it. Little short on the red he played for, though.
$53. $58. $59. Keep the noise down, please.
Terry Camilleri, the referee, appealing for quiet on the other side of the arena. And it looks as though in this frame,
66.
Stephen Maguire is going to be metaphorically kept quiet.
67.
Should be enough. All because of that misjudged safety. He's got breathing space again.
74.
Dave Gilbert at 10-5.
$75.
Now, there's that shot I was telling you about earlier. He plays it so well with extreme side.
82. $83.
No reason here why he can't make his 3rd century of the match.
$90. $91.
People still talking on the other side of the arena. But with the pressure off and frame 1,
97.
Gilbert just going about his merry way.
98. 105.
Tom, precisely what he needed. Precisely.
Absolutely, in full flow again here. Steve
108.
Maguire's safety shot when he left that red over the right-hand centre pocket. There was no guarantee that Dave Gilbert could have got good position from that red because he was close to the top cushion. But it has proved decisive.
117. $123.
Scoring symmetry. He made a 130 break to go 5-1 ahead. Now it's 130 to make it 10-5. He will have guaranteed a substantial lead going into the final session tomorrow. I think he can be quite proud of himself this evening, Maguire.
Frame 16. Last one for the session. Stephen Maguire to break. Settle down, please. Thank you.
Maguire needs this frame desperately. If he wins it, he'd have the consolation of at least winning the session. If he loses it, Dave Gilbert's got 1 foot in the semi-finals.
Oh, that was very fortunate. Double kiss the red that's on the side cushion, brought it into play and somehow got the cue ball behind the brown near the bolt cushion. That was very lucky from Steve Maguire. If he'd have caught that red wrongly and left Dave Gilbert amongst them with the reds as they are, it could have been the last shot of the evening from him.
Hit that red on the incorrect side. If he's left nothing here, that would be almost miraculous.
Is there one red? Well, yes, there is. The red that's just below the cue ball, you can see pots. Now, Stephen was just having a look to see if the black was available in the same pocket. If it is, Stephen's job of getting on a colour would be a lot more straightforward. But nevertheless, he could still play for the blue from this red. Let's have another look. So it must be close.
So horrible when white and red are so close together, especially using the extended rest. Easy to mistime this.
I can't begin to tell you how many players I know that have a butt socket at the base of the cue for extensions that screw into it, but yet they don't bring them out. And they use the push-on extensions provided.
One.
All in all, well done.
Stephen just checked the position of the black spot, so I don't know whether the black will pop now into that corner pocket. It won't.
8.
But he's got a perfect angle on this red just to stun up for the black in the opposite corner. Shouldn't be any problem at all.
Nine.
There's a red in bulk, OK. But very little development work to do with the others.
$16.
Stephen will be leaving an angle on the black here to cannon probably just one of the two reds away. That's just above the black there.
17.
So he wants to cannon the red directly above the black, out of the way, to leave himself on the one to the left of it. What's he playing here, I wonder? Right. I was curious because he looked to me to be playing that with far too much backspin. I thought for a moment he was trying to screw through those reds rather than actually play the shot I suggested, which he did in the end, but played it so badly. Far too much backspin.
And as always, the heart on the sleeve for Maguire. Gilbert sitting there a lot more passively, just hoping for a chance. Just can't disguise his annoyance, his anger.
He's given himself a problem. Ouch, goodness gracious me, that must have hurt.
Stephen Maguire, 24.
Why does he do it? One of these days he'll regret it in a major way. Yes, show frustration, but not like that.
I'm reminded of a match many years ago. I think it was in the Masters qualifying competition. Michael Holt was playing Steve Judd, and I was watching this match with Ryan Day, and it all came down to the colours. Poor Michael missed the brown, I think it was, punched the table with his wrong hand and dislocated a knuckle. Could hardly hold the cue afterwards.
It necessitated a trip to hospital. He told me the full story. I like Maguire's passion. I just don't want to see him hurt himself. Now that's the kind of punch you want, the counter punch.
Left himself a lovely angle there on the yellow, was able to punch it in for a choice of red.
4.
He's been the better player this evening.
11. 12.
Yes, defeat in this frame for Steve Maguire would mean he'd have very little to show for his efforts this evening, but victory in this remaining frame of the session would mean that he'd win it overall by 5 frames to 3.
Let's just talk quarterfinals at the Crucible. Only 3 times in a quarterfinal has someone come back from a 6-frame deficit. Sean Murphy against Matthew Stevens, 2007. 11-5 down, 113-12. Peter Ebden against Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8-2 down, 113-11. Eddie Charlton, 10-4 down against Cliff Thorburn, 113-12. If Maguire comes back to win this match, it would establish a new record, because he was 7 frames behind.
32.
Yes, been 7 frames behind on 2 occasions. 8-1 and 9-2.
33. $39. 40.
What an enjoyable session it's been. Full of incident, fluency.
$46. 47. 53. 54.
'Well, every likelihood here, Phil, of a 3rd century in this session. It's been a good standard.
61.
Yes, and it would be the 5th century of the match.
67. 69.
A supermarket shot, 2 for the price of 1.
And still just enough on for a century break.
74.
No century, but that was a a fighting display from Stephen Maguire. At 9-2, few would have rated his chances. Overnight, trailing only 10-6. Don't write him off. But it still has to be said, Dave Gilbert is the man in the driver's seat. 3 frames away from his second semi-final here at the Crucible.